What's up, sausage dog? It's me, Matt Lees. How you doing? And welcome to this week's update Q&A video. I'm drinking today out of a Jabba the Hutt mug that I got from LucasArts many years ago. And I've chosen this mug, you may be interested to know, because of the fact that it's very unlikely to spill hot liquid onto my crotch, just because of the size and shape of it. So that's specific. Another thing you should know about today's video is the fact that I just decided to wolf down 2 dairy milk bars in quite quick succession. So I'm currently on a bit of a sugar high, which is probably going to crash out in about 10 minutes. So see if you can spot the exact moment in the video where I crash. It's like pin the tail on the donkey, but instead of having a donkey, it's not that much like pin the tail on the donkey. Yeah. Anyway, updates. First things first, quite an exciting week. I'm pretty happy with this week. Obviously, yesterday, confusion. You will have seen, of course, that my thing with The Escapist is now out in the open. And if you're going, what, then yeah, you can go and look at that now. It's a thing. It exists, and it is Game of Thrones Abridged. Quite excited about this. This is why I didn't want to spoil the surprise, because the teaser is, hopefully you enjoyed it. The teaser is in itself kind of a bit of fun and a little bit of information for you guys, which obviously is not related to the gaming stuff, but if you have watched that, then I purposefully made sure that the teaser didn't contain any footage from the actual thing. So I've already kind of pretty much got the whole of the Series 1 abridged in the bag, and I'm working on Series 2 now, just on the weekends and stuff. It's kind of scary because I haven't done Season 2 or 3 yet, and they need to come in weekly succession after Series 1 next week. So I need to get my skates on with that, really. And it's my birthday weekend, so I don't really want to have to work all weekend. But and Dark Souls 2, God. So it's a busy week, but it's quite exciting because I've been working on that for a long time, and I hope that you guys enjoy it. Especially because I've had lots of people saying to me, Matt, are you going to do abridged versions of GDC or this or that? And it's like, well, a lot of these things are quite boring, actually. And I kind of feel like while I'm not saying I'm definitely not going to do abridged games conferences ever again, I kind of feel like to a degree that joke has run its course. And it's especially now that Don Matrick's not even in the game anymore. Oh, what's the point? No, but I probably will do some more of that stuff. I may well. But, yeah, if you are a Game of Thrones fan, then you should hopefully be excited to know that I'm doing an abridged thing for every series and then every episode every week for Season 4, which is kind of terrifying. But it's a little experiment, really. I like to try and push myself. And it was a new challenge, because I've not done anything like this before, exactly. And a new area. And I love Game of Thrones, and I thought it would be a really fun challenge to try and condense a 10-hour series into a couple of minutes. And it has been a challenge. But hopefully you'll see how I've done with that next week when the Season 1 video appears. Anyway, that's all out in the open. Quite exciting. I hope you don't mind I held that information from you because I wanted it to be a surprise. Other than that, it's quite a cool week for me. As I say, it's my birthday on Friday, and I don't want to be a self-centered twat, but I'm going to be. So, hooray for me! I think I'm gonna make some fresh dough today, and then it means I can have some pizza tomorrow, so I'll cook myself a homemade pizza lunch. And I got some homemade chips as well in the freezer. I made my own oven chips. Yeah, boy. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that, because as you'll probably know, I haven't really actually had that much time to play games recently. I've been quite busy with the Game of Thrones stuff, with trying to make videos for the channel, and with other stuff. So even things like Strider, I want to make a Strider video. Still haven't played it. It's been like 2 weeks. I still haven't got around to playing it. I'm going to try and do that today, actually. Or maybe tomorrow. I don't know. And also, actually, I am doing a small piece of writing for a games website for the new Blizzard MOBA. So Heroes of the Storm. I'm basically doing a little bit of freelance. And I'm quite excited about that because it means I get access to Heroes of the Storm. And as you know, I'm a big Dota fan. But at the same time, I'm actually really open to Heroes of the Storm. I don't really get on with League of Legends because it's too similar. It's like, I think with League of Legends and Dota, you can only really love one because they're so similar that it's like, well, just choose one. Because if you're playing the other one, you're not going to be having fun because it's too similar but different. But Heroes of the Storm looks really different. I'm excited about that. I need to double check with the Blizzard PR that I'll be okay to do stuff about it for here as well. but I'm like 90% sure that'll be fine. I might have to wait maybe a couple of days more, but that's not a problem. To be honest, I'm kind of looking forward to being able to invest some proper time into that and then actually kind of make a video about Heroes of the Storm and what I think of it. And I don't know what I think of it yet, so I don't know what kind of a video it's going to be, but we'll see. And yeah, generally it's been it's going to be quite a busy week. I'm going to get access to that. I'm going to get access to Dark Souls 2. I'm going to be playing Dark Souls 2, and I'm really looking forward to playing Dark Souls 2. A lot of people have been asking me if I'm going to do a Let's Play of it. Not initially, I don't think. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to play through the game and then probably make a kind of big in-depth video about what I think about the game, probably maybe a couple of weeks after it's been out, so I've had a good chance to really get a feel for it and let my thoughts brew. And then after that, I'll start doing a kind of Pantsman thing and we'll start streaming something. I don't know how that's going to work because I kind of feel like I need a partner to do it with, and I kind of need to find somebody who can consistently do it at a set time on a weekly basis, which is quite an ask. If you don't work with people, obviously that's one of the advantages of working for a company is you have access to a whole bunch of people and you can be like, come and do this, whereas I'm on my own, which is fine. But yeah, it makes things like that more difficult. But hopefully you guys have been enjoying what we're doing. I've done a huge amount lately, and it's kind of tricky to do a huge amount because obviously the XCOM thing is 1 day a week. The update video, same. I mean, both those things don't take a huge amount of time, but together for the 2 videos, you're talking about a day. Got some silly stuff. I do want to do this, and I'm going to do it soon, I think. I might even do it this week. I do really want to do the whole Don Matrick and me playing games thing. And him kind of reviewing the Microsoft games, because that idea was I can't remember who it was again, but one of the patrons, one of the Benefit Spongers suggested that idea, and I really like it, and I've been letting the idea brew in my head for quite a long time. Sorry if you can hear the workman in the background. If you can't, then my God, I love this microphone. But basically, yeah, I'm ready to do that now, I think, pretty much. Some of the jokes aren't quite there, but I think it's nearly there, and I don't want Don Matrick to become too much of a gimmick, but I kind of feel like it's time to bring him back. For a little something. So I'm excited about that, actually. It's almost there. And I should say, actually, if you do have ideas for like a video, even if it's just a case of saying, Matt, have you seen this? Do a parody of it, or do you think this is funny, or maybe you could do something funny with this. Feel free to just tweet at me or just post a comment on the videos on the Patreon page. That's my new thing. Trying to remember to say Patreon, not Patreon, because it's Patreon. Oh God, I can't. I really need to do this. The pronunciation is not Patreon, it's Patreon, like patron. No, it's not. Oh God, I need to go back to the drawing board with this one. It's just become a complete mess. But yeah, things are good. I'm actually feeling really good this week, mainly because there's a bit of sunshine. I feel like I've got into the flow of things. I've started actually doing stuff properly with Shut Up and Sit Down. It's fantastic. I'm working on that stuff with them. I'm going to be doing some openers in the next few weeks. If you're a Shut Up and Sit Down fan, I'm going to be doing Skulls and Roses, and I'm going to be doing, I think the Skulls and Roses review might actually have my pizza recipe in it. Not mine. I'm probably going to use Dan Leopard's because that guy is a boss. And then after that, soon I've got Pandemic and all of the expansions for that, and that game is so much fun, and the expansions are badass. So I'm going to get myself a lab coat and mess around with the green screen. And I hope you guys agree. I'm loving the green screen at the moment. It took me a little while to get my head around it, but now I'm having so much fun with it. And yeah, it's just brilliant. Having all this stuff next to me at any one stage just means I'm able to just leap into action and just do stupid shit at the drop of the hat. But having said that, I do often miss stuff. So if there's something happens that's really funny or really stupid, or think that there's a really obvious parody or something fun I could do with it, feel free to tweet it at me, or drop a message or drop a comment. Because I've got to say, I don't always reply to everything, but I do read everything. The only exception is I don't always read all YouTube comments because it's very difficult to keep up with those things. But on the Patreon page especially, Patreon? Oh, fuck it, I'll work it out later. Anyway, what I will say, is, as I've said before, I will probably spend more time replying to comments and reading comments on the Patreon page in the future, just because it's kind of nice. I can see who sponges are, and that means I can actually make sure I take the time to reply to people where relevant. If I haven't done so, apologies, but I do always read it. And that's all I can offer, really, because sometimes things explode and I don't have time to reply to everyone, but I am always listening. And anyway, on the topic of replying, let's get into the mother flipping questions. That's a new jingle I've just invented for the questions. Still haven't died from sugar drop, so that's good. That is good. Okay, so I'm going to start off with a question here. Brent Rendell. Brent Rendell. That doesn't sound like a real name, Brent. I'm sorry, don't take that personally, but Brent Rendell doesn't sound like a real name. I'm not saying you're not real. I believe you are. But anyway, says, "Hi Matt, will you ever do any direct interactions with the fans, like attending events like conventions?" Which is an interesting one. And Joshua McGann followed on from this to say, "Yeah, that'd be cool. GemuCon. GemuCon is coming up this year. I think that's at the University of Warwick. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge, say no more." And yeah, I don't know. This is tricky because it's like I definitely want to do some interaction stuff. Interaction is such a weird like word, though. You know, I kind of feel like with a lot of these things, it's a bit formal. You know, these things are the idea of having a convention where you go and stand in line and shake hands with someone. It's just weird in a way. I find that weird anyway. This idea of lining up, being ready to meet the fans. And I had a look at GemuCon, how it's pronounced, and yeah, it's mostly a bunch of YouTubers who some of them I've talked to before, some of them I've never heard of, but I don't know, it's kind of odd. It kind of freaks me out, the idea of going somewhere and with the intention of sort of like just being swamped with people and shaking hands and signing things. And also, I mean, a lot of those guys are like super famous, so I'd feel really weird being there, just being like, hello. And yeah, I'm kind of an odd one anyway. Like, as much as I like being on the internet, sometimes I'm a bit of a freak, and I don't like too many people. Having said that, I much prefer things that are a bit more, a bit less orchestrated. You know, I find it a bit weird, the idea of going somewhere specifically so people can come and meet you and shake your hand and stuff. It almost feels like a bit, I don't know, maybe because I've just worked in PR and worked with like celebrities and stuff. I just find the whole thing a bit insincere. But I would like to meet people, especially you guys, if you're funding this. So I think the way that will probably happen is just a bit more naturally, hopefully. When I'm at things, I will let people know where I'm going to be. So if I'm just going to be attending stuff as a kind of fan, then I'll let you know. I mean, I'm hoping to pop along to Rezzed at some point. I haven't actually got round to asking for a press thing there, but I'm hoping to pop along to Rezzed. So basically just a case of like, if I am, keep an eye out and I'll let you know if I am. In advance, and just come and say hello. And actually, I had a lot of this when I was at Eurogamer. I was at Eurogamer with Shut Up and Sit Down, and I was there for 3 days, and loads of people just came over and said hello. And you know what? I kind of actually much prefer that, rather than to go to a convention that's specifically made for people getting to meet video creators that they love, which just to me feels it kind of weirds me out of it. I don't know. Maybe because I don't like the idea that it's like, oh, come and meet the famous people, and I don't really think of myself as being famous. But I do love it I always love it when people come over to me and say that they really love my work, or that specifically they love something and they just want to meet me. That is always lovely, because I have so many people like that I've met in my life that I kind of have to go over and say, look, I just really love this, and I think that's really natural. I really like that. So I think I'll always be around for stuff, especially in the UK if it's nearby. I'm going to try and go to Rezzed. I'm sure I'll be at Eurogamer Expo to some capacity as well. But I will make more of an effort, if possible, in advance to let people know where I'm going to be, even just so I can meet up with people. But I don't know. I mean, it'd be nice to do some sort of small event thing. I've been toying with the idea of doing a kind of stupid pub quiz thing for a while. But I'm around. I'm around. I mean, especially if you have access to London, we do regular features, podcasts live, quite regularly. We've done 2. We'll probably do another one this year in the next couple of months. So, there are plenty of opportunities for if you want to just come and find me and meet me and shake my hand to do so. And in terms of stuff abroad, I don't know about the US and I don't know about that sort of thing. But I don't know. I mean, there's a chance we might end up going to some board game conventions in the next couple of years. I don't know. I'll be about. But I just find it a bit weird. I don't know. I find that stuff weird. I'm not having a go at it. It's a different world. And I kind of look at the lineup of that GemuCon. I look at all these YouTubers and they've all got these big wide grins. And I don't know. It's just I don't really... I know a lot of people do see me as being like those guys. But I don't know. I just feel a bit weirded by it. They're not quite... I don't feel the same as them in some regards, which is weird. Anyway. And Stefan C. Bauer, quick question. How awesome do you think we all are for doubling your goal? I mean, now it's actually at 250%. The the patronage. We've got benefit sponges, 500 benefit sponges at 250%. Amazing. You guys are genuinely brilliant. It's changed my life in a way that's incredible. It means I've been able to, since I've had, I mean, full disclosure, before this I was having conversations with a bunch of people about potential sort of gigs, and I had something lined up, which was going to be a bit corporate, really. I mean, not like, oh, evil, but it was going to be a bit corporate, and it was going to be very much sort of, funded by advertising, sponsorship sort of thing, of having a bit at the start and going, oh, hey, this is sponsored by this. And, I was going to do it because I kind of didn't really, it was work, and I needed some work. But I've since actually been able to turn that down. So just being able to turn that stuff down and actually be able to no, actually, I don't want to do that because it kind of conflicts with what I've told the people who are funding me I'm about. So I'm not going to do that. And also just to be able to go, well, that means I've also got more time to do this stuff and more time to just have these stupid ideas and do that stuff. So you guys are amazing. I've said it before, I literally couldn't do it without you. And I hope that you continue to look back every month. I mean, I know I'm not making a huge amount of content. The stuff I make will fluctuate. Some months I will be crazy and I'll be making tons of stuff. Other months will be quieter. But I hope that when you get to the end of the month, you look back, and even if I've only ended up making about 10, 12 videos, you going, yeah, that was great. I like that. If you don't, then feel free to unsub. I have no problem with that whatsoever. I'm aware that it will fluctuate, and I appreciate your patronage for as little or as long as you want to keep going. However, I have got stats of people who've been... It does tell me in the back end who's been funding for how long. So at some point, I'll probably make use of that, just to do something cool for you guys. I don't know what, but I have not... I'm taking note of these things. Luke Russell asks, you talked before about positives and negatives of games journalism, so what is the most enjoyable and least enjoyable experience you've had reviewing a game? Oh, this could be because the game is good or bad, or it could be the atmosphere which you're forced to play it. And he said, I think he mentioned someone looking over your shoulder playing Prototype 2. I've got to say, actually, I think the least enjoyable experience I had reviewing a game was Dark Souls, because of the fact that I had a very, very small amount of time to do it. I had to fly out for a press event in the States, and I had 3 days to do it, and it was just so intense, and I was just playing it constantly, but I got stuck because I got cursed, and I was just bashing my head against this wall, unable to make any progress at all. And yeah, I hated it. It was a horrible experience. I think you could ask my editor at the time, it was John Hicks. I think you ask him, I was broken. It broke me, that game. And I was so close to giving it a 6 out of 10 because I hated it. I hated what it had done to me. But then obviously I kept going with it, and suddenly it kind of clicked and I realised that it was amazing. But yeah, that could have been really embarrassing. But that was hellish. But also the Prototype 2 thing was horrible as well, because that was a kind of lack of trust on the publisher's part, and they said that the code had to be looked after at every stage by somebody in the room. So they had to basically they sent somebody from a PR agency to basically just sit, not always next to me, but always in the room or nearby or in the next room, to make sure that the code didn't go walkies or something. And they had to take the code back with them after 2 days. So it was this deadline of basically I have to finish this game in 2 days. And not just finish the game, it's especially when you're reviewing something for a print magazine, it's you need to get every bit of information out of that. If you realise the next day that you've forgotten the name of a special move that you wanted to write about, you can't. If you don't have the game anymore, because usually you just boot it up again and go, oh, it was that, okay. But if you don't have the game, you're buggered. So it's just an incredibly stressful way to review something, because it means you have to remember every detail, you have to take perfect notes, you have to finish the game, you can leave no stone unturned. And personally, I found that actually I really didn't like Prototype 2, which is weird because I loved the first one, even though it was shit, don't get me wrong. And I think that's because it wasn't a game that was made to be played in big chunks. I think it was a game that was meant to be played for maybe an hour every day or every other day for a couple of weeks. And in little bursts, it'd probably be really fun. But to sit and hammer it and complete it all in a day and a half, didn't enjoy it. Wasn't fun. It got really tired really quickly, really repetitive. But I mean, that was just, that was one of those things where it's you know what, no sympathy there really. It's not my job to make sure that the reviewing experience is ideal for reviewers. That's what PR are supposed to do, and often they don't. Having said that, Activision also did some of the best stuff. I think some of the best, to be honest, they got crap in recent years because a lot a lot of the Call of Duty review events, I haven't been to them for a couple of years, but one I went to a couple of years ago was like, it was kind of that. They had like, you had to play the campaign in your room, then you come and play the multiplayer, and then play the zombies, and they kind of had like this weird routine of making sure you played every part of the game properly, which was fine, and I get why, but I think the best events I've been to are the ones where, for stuff like Call of Duty, where it's just like you go to a place, you've got the game in your room, so you can play all the single player stuff on your own without anyone watching you or without anyone nearby, and then go down and have the multiplayer. And that kind of makes sense. I don't like it when they do review events at hotels, but for stuff like Call of Duty, it kind of made sense because they want you to have a proper experience with the multiplayer. And so what they'd do is they'd have like enough systems on so you could properly get a feel for what it's like. Still unrepresentative because you're playing against journalists who tend to be crap at multiplayer games, which makes you feel like you're a boss, and then you get online and you get your ass kicked. But things seemed to work back then. That system, at its peak, I can't remember which game it was. It may have been Modern Warfare 3, I think I reviewed. Yeah, it was. And that was a good event. That stuff just goes smoothly. It was kind of a pleasure to do it because you get plenty of time, you get plenty of access, you get a proper multiplayer experience, which is something, it's kind of gone the other way around now, right? Of what it used to be that no publishers would give you like pre-access to multiplayer. You just have to go, oh, there's also a multiplayer mode. We assume it's good. But then like Call of Duty, they were at least smart enough to know that the multiplayer was the most important thing. And so they would actually set it up so you got to play that loads. But now it's gone full circle of the fact that you have these events for stuff like Battlefield 4 or Titanfall, and then it's like, all the reviews are like, oh, it's an amazing, fun online game. And then it's like, it comes out and the servers don't work. It's really odd that this has recently happened because, I don't know, it always used to be fine. But now it's like we somehow can't do online games anymore. Very strange. So yeah, it's kind of like, it's interesting how the nature of reviews and the nature of review events are shifting, and the benchmarks of what makes a good review event have changed. I find that kind of fascinating because it used to be that setup was perfect. And now it's like, wait till it's out. Play it when it's out. But anyway, I don't know. In terms of the game I've had the most fun reviewing, I can't remember. To be honest, I've had a lot of fun reviewing games. I wouldn't be doing it. I wouldn't do it if I didn't, That's pretty much it. Chino86 says, you mentioned a gaming podcast at some moment, I'm sure. Any updates? No update yet. Sorry, I'm useless. I'm genuinely useless. I have the people lined up. I just need to work out how I'm going to do it. I really need to do that. I need to set a weekly day where we meet up and do it. I need to find a location. I preferably love to rent out a studio because I like nice sounding podcasts, but I need to look into that. Otherwise, it's just getting people around to my house and buying them some lager and sitting them in front of a microphone, which is actually not insane. But yes, that's my job. Maybe for next week, but I'm kind of worried because it's like with the update video, I'm doing the XCOM video, I'm doing this update video, and the games podcast. I'm kind of worried that with those three things, it might end up meaning that my time in the week is then like quite heavily reduced. But we'll see. I think I want to do it because I really love gaming podcasts, and I think we make good ones. Now, Gerard asks, how do you feel about the news Ubisoft have taken scenes out of the South Park game? This is a problem I'm going to have with the comments, actually, by the way, in terms of the questions. I feel bad getting people to repost the questions in another thread because people have clearly gone to a lot of effort to do that, and I don't want to miss them out. But obviously, it means there will be a slight lag in terms of stuff that's zeitgeisty. So, apologies for that. This is basically just the fact that our censorship laws in the UK are just dumb. It's like... and in fact, all over the world, I don't know. I think people just need to, just chill out a bit. But it's kind of about legal systems and stuff. I think the best thing about that was the fact that there was a little note about the censorship saying, you lose again, Europe, which was written by, Trey Parker, etc. And I like that. I like the fact that it's like, I like the fact that it's not just taken out. They've actually made a comment about it. But I think, I don't know. It was a choice by Ubisoft. I don't know. And he makes the point of saying, why not give consumers the choice to skip the scene or play it as it was done with the No Russians mission in Modern Warfare 2, which, I don't see why not. I think it's pretty crazy for considering what I've heard about the rest of that game and the content in it, and the content in South Park generally. It's like, you know what, if you buy a South Park and you don't know what you're getting, then come on. Daniel Law says, how's life? I see a lot of gaming and work comments, such as, how are you doing? I'm doing really good, actually, thanks, Daniel. I'm doing really good. I feel healthy again, which is lovely. I was concerned, actually, about my wrists quite recently, I'll be honest. I felt like I was on the verge of developing RSI at one point in the past couple of weeks, because I've just been spending so long either playing games or making videos or using computers, because I have, so many commitments and, well, not that many commitments, but I want to keep doing stuff for you guys as well. And that kind of freaked me out. And that's one of the reasons I haven't played a huge amount of games, is because I've kind of been like in the evenings trying to step away from computers a bit because of my wrists. But actually, I found a video by Day9 that was doing the rounds. I think it was a Day9 video, but it was clips of him, and it was different kind of hand exercises you can do, and all sorts of like things like this, and like basically just stretches to hold. And since then, my wrists have been fantastic, which is great. And I started going for jogs in the morning, which is great. I'm happy, which is worryingly rare. I spend a lot of my life feeling not necessarily unhappy, but not satisfied. And I don't know why. I think it's just the sort of person I am, really. I'm a bit kind of up and down. And yeah, I spend a lot of time not really happy and satisfied with things. But I'm really happy at the moment. I feel like I've actually achieved the work-life balance that I was aiming for. And I feel like I'm starting to be able to allow myself to slow down a bit and not constantly be in overdrive. And obviously I do a lot of my best stuff when I'm in overdrive, but as I found last year, I really burnt myself out as well. So I'm good. Thank you for asking, Daniel. And this is an example of things being behind Simon James asking about, will there be another XCOM series? Yes, episode 2 of that will be out tomorrow. And okay, Tim Ashton, this is an easy one. He says, I'm a big fan of board games. However, I'm struggling to convince my friends that they're not boring. What games would you recommend to introduce beginners? Go to Shut Up and Sit Down. Go to videos and look for any of them that say The Opener, because I now do more stuff with Shut Up and Sit Down, but what I started off doing is The Opener, which the whole premise of The Opener is looking at board games that are great to introduce people to the hobby or to get them interested. So yeah, you've come to the right place, but I won't give you any more answer than that, because that's a good starting space. And let's have a look. Alec Norton, let's have a look at what time we're on. I might actually, because I think the Sugar Crash is in full swing now. And just to make sure that these Q&A videos and update videos don't take over too much of my time and energy, actually, talking like this for about an hour is like wipes you out. I feel like I need to lie down afterwards. So I'm going to end this after this question. Pardon me, doing a burp. And I haven't spilt any tea on myself today, so my plan came to fruition like a delicious fruit. Alec Norton, apologies, Alec, asks, he says, Twitch Plays Pokemon has undoubtedly been an enjoyable experience. The highs and lows of it all have melded into something truly magnificent. Do you think it can ever be replicated quite so fully ever again, and will we see a surge of massively cooperative game modes in the future? Yeah, probably. I think it's funny, Twitch Plays Pokemon, I've had a few questions about this, and I might have skipped some earlier, actually, so if I did, apologies, but people asking me if I was going to do a sketch about it or do a comedy video about Twitch Plays Pokemon. There's nothing to do, which I think is a testament to how brilliant the whole thing was, really. I think the only joke there would be to do a kind of like live stream thing where you're being controlled by controlling a human, and I think, what's it called? Rev3 Games did that. What's he called? What's his bloody name? You know what his name is. He's got bloody big lamb chops. He seems like a smart man. He's always getting harassed by the sorts of people who I have no respect for whatsoever, which makes him a pretty top dude in my books, frankly. But yeah, he did that joke. I don't know how well they did that joke, and I was kind of annoyed when I saw they were doing it. They were doing a live stream where you could tell them what to do, and they would be like, and I was kind of annoyed because I was like, shit, that's a great idea. They've done that idea now, though, and it's like, I don't know how well they did it. I could probably do it better. Just saying. He's a good guy, he's a smart guy, but I don't know. But there's not a lot else to do, because what I love about Twitch Plays Pokemon was it's just fucking stupid. It's just dumb. It's a stupid idea. It's basically just, it wouldn't even need to be about a real video game. It was just, when I was a kid, I used to watch stuff like Alive and Kicking and Saturday Morning TV Show, and they had these terrible games where you have to call in, and if you're young, you might be too young to remember this, but these games where you'd have to dial in and you'd be basically talking on the phone, going left, 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 right, 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 jump, jump, left, 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 and they'd end up saying left about 20 times because, in retrospect, the way it worked was just somebody with a joystick on the other end of a phone just trying to do what they were told, but being given so many commands that they were always a bit behind, and it just looked horrendously unfair because these kids had been like sitting on a phone for like half an hour hoping to get through. Then they got through. They had their shot at this little game to see if they could win a prize, and half the time they got shafted because they'd be like left, 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 and this thing about a second later is like, oh, left, left. It was infuriating to watch. I can't imagine how infuriating it would have been to be on the phone playing it. And I can't imagine how nonchalant the person with the joystick who was doing it must have been. They must have been like, fuck this. No one can do this. This is fucking impossible. Luckily, their face wasn't on TV. Otherwise, they probably would have been hounded to the end of the earth. But yeah, it was like that. It reminded me of that, and the fact that it was just this incomprehensible, constant stream of overlapping and not, just orders just coming through, left, right, jump, jump, left, right, and it just being a mess. Trying to remember the name of these bloody things. One of the games involved like a little, it was some sort of little dude with horns. I think it was called it wasn't, my brain wants to say Alf, but it wasn't Alf, because Alf is a different thing from a different era slightly. Anyway, he was a dick. He was some sort of leprechaun, and I think he actually ended up coming back as a game character a few years later, and it's like, what are you doing here? Like, no one likes you. You're a dick. Everyone hates you. But it was perfect, and I can't believe they completed the game. I really can't, because for me it was a throwaway joke. I also can't understand how people sat and watched it, because I watched it for about 20 seconds and went, that's hilarious, and then that was it. I just sort of stepped away from it. I love the memes that came out of it, I love the jokes that came out of it, but I could not watch it. It was the most frustrating thing in the world. I don't think it'll become a trend. I think what it is an example of is it's exactly like the Harlem Shake. It's exactly like Harlem Shake in the fact that people will always go on about how there's formulas to making stuff funny and there's formulas to viral content. And for every twat you have working in a media agency or whatever who has this idea about how there is like, this is how you make popular content, because these people exist. They're like, this is how you do it. And it's like, no. I mean, that will work. If you want something to be popular, you can just run the numbers and go, this plus this plus this equals this. Like, that will work, but there's always going to be outliers. And out of nowhere, you'll always get something fucking stupid that will just appear, and you've never seen anything like it, and it's just brilliant, and it will do really well. And it's quite telling that loads of other people have tried to recreate the Twitch plays Pokemon thing and started it with other games. It's not going to work. It will fizzle out. It will go. It was a flash in the pan, and there'll be something else. And what's exciting about it is not that we'll see this massively cooperative things. It's that the industry and the way that the games combine with media still has this capacity to just surprise us out of nowhere and make us laugh and just make us do stupid stuff. And I enjoy trying to be a part of that, frankly. And I kind of feel like I did that last year when I first released the Abridged video, and I don't know when the next time I'll do that will be, but I hope I can do it again. Maybe not to the same degree of success, but I like the idea of just keeping up and trying to think of different things, trying to think of new things that will surprise people. It's not always just about making people laugh. And I do also, there is a degree of by the number stuff. Obviously, the Game of Thrones Abridged thing is like, that's to a degree like slightly calculated. It's like, people like this style of thing, but maybe I can do something different. Maybe I could do it with this. And it's like, there's a degree of going, people really like Game of Thrones, people really like this style of humour, they'll probably like this. But obviously then, trying to make it good and trying to make it funny is a bit more difficult than you might suspect. But I still, as much as I like the challenge of having something like that and having a formula that you go, this will work, but then being like, but I'm going to craft something that I'm really proud of. That's fun, but I always love the element of just trying to kind of ride the madness and just have a crazy idea and just see how far you can go with it, just to make something stupid So Twitch Plays Pokemon is, in my mind, it's beyond parody. It's just there's nothing funny I can do about that. You know, I like pastiche, I like parody, I like satire. I don't know how to make that joke funnier than it is. To me, it's one of the funniest jokes I've seen in years. The fact that it was functional in any way just blows my mind. But it's like, I'm not going to make a joke about a joke because it's already a better joke than I could make. And on that weird note, I'm going to call it a day. Didn't spill any tea on myself. Yeah. I've actually had it nestle between my legs, so it's sort of vaguely keeping my thighs warm. Oh, actually, no, it's not. The tea's quite cold, but my thighs are warm. I'm going to end this right here. Bye!